I want to recognize our newest member, our two newest members. First, the gentleman from Ohio is recognized for 5 minutes.
I thank the chairman, thank our witnesses. It is an honor to be on the Weaponization Committee. It's disappointing that Congress needed to create this committee, but it definitely needed to be done. The American people rightly recognize that our own government is being turned against its citizens. The Bill of Rights was put in place by the Founding Fathers fundamentally because in the first days of the Constitution, the concern was that the federal government would somehow be used and turned against not just the states, but the citizens of those states. And today we're seeing the Bill of Rights being trampled in every kind of way. We see freedom of religion. Oh, you can have it, just don't exercise it. Freedom of speech, the right to assemble, all of the First Amendment trampled. The Second Amendment, people want to trample it. I would say the third has been trampled as well. You have to provide provision for government on everything from a cell phone to a laptop to your car. Now, maybe even digital ID. All kinds of things. People are supporting every kind of infringement, warrantless spying on American citizens, government agencies buying data that they would otherwise have to get a warrant or a subpoena, and on down the list through the entire Bill of Rights. And the question is, what are we going to do about it? And I think this committee is a good response to it. Today, we're focusing on AI, and when you think about AI, how do you assess, whether the algorithm has got it right? Is it a question of which speech gets canceled? Because that seems to be the case. And the reality is, while some of this activity went on under the previous administration, in the early days of the Biden administration, they wanted to formalize it. They didn't call it a ministry of truth. They came up with the Disinformation Governance Board. But Mr. Lukianoff, what's the state of play in recognizing when free speech is, frankly, people are having their free speech rights canceled?
I would turn us to the less sexy and less sci-fi scenario of what's going on American college campuses. I feel like I'm on the free speech left. I feel like I've been screaming at the sky trying to get people to take seriously the threats to free speech on campus for a long time now. 2020 and 2021 were the highest number of professors fired, and they were on the left and the right, to be clear, that I'm aware of since probably for a two-year period since probably the 1930s. And this is something that is not getting sufficient attention. Now, who programs AI? Overwhelmingly elite college graduates who actually, when you poll them, have some pretty distressing ideas about freedom of speech. Think about the idea of us all living on the most repressive college campus, and that's why we should be afraid of what AI potentially could become if we don't actually take this issue a little more seriously.
Yeah, so thank you for that. And when you think about AI and the language models that are used, how do you know what the primary sources are? When you're looking at the way that speech is canceled on campus, there are some people are disfavored. Maybe some campuses won't allow Congressman Jordan on their campus, or maybe some won't allow our ranking member on campus, and they might view it as good because the other person got canceled. We can all recognize that as some limitation of speech, but when you look at the algorithm, you just know you don't really get to see what was filtered. So, Mr. Fang, Ms. Richardson, do you have thoughts about how we detect this kind of activity in AI?
Well, look, it's not my role as a journalist to prescribe any particular solution, but I would want to point at the example in the UK where they have a little bit stronger data laws. A lot of the people who were censored during the pandemic for simply criticizing the efficacy of some of the vaccines, discussing some of these pandemic lockdowns, the way that they were able to find out that they were surveilled and then censored is that they were able to make requests with some of the UK's data laws for the government and these private sector firms to provide their own data to them, and that's how they found out. We don't have those same strong protections in the US. Perhaps it's worth looking at stronger rights to your own data, better algorithmic transparency. This is worth debating.
Thank you for that, and I'll yield the balance of my time to the chairman.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. Well, actually, I don't have time in 30 seconds to get to it, but I appreciate it. I'll yield it back to the fine gentleman if he has another question.
I look forward to the work of the committee. As I said, it's important, but just to pick up where you left off, Mr. Fang, we've worked on a bill for a while called the It's Your Data Act that would recognize a property right in American citizens' data. And when you look at one of the most trampled rights that the Bill of Rights is supposed to protect, it would be the right to privacy. So I hope we reclaim it.